What is up, guys? ASMR Cacus here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we have a very interesting video answering the very common question of, is it worth farming Solstice packages within the Solstice of Heroes event for Destiny 2 Season of Arrivals? What are your actual chances to get the more valuable items that can drop from these packages? And how many of these valuable items per hour, per actual time spent farming, are you likely to get? Well, that's what this video is going to answer, and so let's get started. But just before we do, if you plan on farming, you best be farming efficiently. So you need that advanced GG Focus, the best and only clinically proven gaming supplement out there. Check the link in the description, code KHD for 10% off. Alright, so the first step in figuring out the drop rates is to acquire the biggest sample size possible to give us the best representation of the actual drop rates. If you just open 10 packages, you could get 10 pieces of Solstice Armor, but obviously the drop rate isn't 100%. So, huge shout out to fellow clanmate and YouTuber Scaro9. He put out a massive video opening 150 of these packages and kept the tallies of what he got and then provided me even more afterwards. And him plus a bunch of other clanmates were able to just give me so much raw data. And including myself, I was able to get the data for 350 Solstice packages open. So exactly what was obtained from all of those packages. Now, very importantly, we didn't include Glimmer and planetary materials and legendary shards. That would just be way too much to keep track of, but note, you can get those type of materials from these packages as well. So, what can you get from these packages? Well, interestingly, sometimes they give you just one item, like one blue, one legendary, but more often than not, you're going to get several things, like a blue and an umbral and maybe even a Solstice Armor piece as well. So these are just averages throughout these 350 packages. So the first item, blues. So random blue weapons and armor, 305 of those were acquired. So they're present in 87.1% of Solstice packages. And that makes sense. Let's move on now to their counterpart, Legendaries. So, you're not just getting Solstice Armor, you're also getting essentially legendary engrams, which include world drop either armor or weapons. 86 of those were acquired for a total of 24.6%. And this right here is a perfect illustration of why a large sample size matters. It's basically 25%. Like, it's pretty obvious. Bungie themselves typed in 25% for just random legendaries. 1 out of every 4 gives you a legendary instead of a blue type of thing. And that's not bad. Some of the world drops are actually pretty powerful. Moving on to the next thing you can get, Umbral engrams. Now, in total, 47 Umbral engrams were acquired for 13.4% in terms of rarity. And that's, again, not bad. Umbrals definitely not as valuable now as they were at the beginning of this season, but it's basically like another legendary that you can focus down to a specific weapon or armor piece. Moving on, something else you can get is Enhancement cores. Now, interestingly, these can drop as just one-ofs, but most commonly they drop as 3 in a single package, and sometimes I've heard upwards of 5 from a single package. So these are averaged out, but in total, 78 were acquired, which gives you a 22.3% drop rate. Then, the really rare stuff. So you can actually get upgrade modules from Solstice packages. In total, 6 were acquired, including one I personally got, as you can see, and that gives a drop rate of 1.7%, so very rare. But that's not actually the rarest thing you can get. You can actually get Enhancement Prisms. 2 different clanmates confirmed that these do drop from packages, which means we got exactly 2 prisms, which gives a drop rate there of 0.6%. So very, very rare. Definitely don't farm packages if you want prisms, right? But that is a lot of different things you can get from opening a Solstice package. Now, then lastly, we have the thing that most people are going to want to farm for, and that is the Solstice Armor itself. So, out of 350, 112 Solstice Armor pieces dropped for a rate of 32%. And I mean, the fact that this indicates that you'll get 1 piece of Solstice Armor for every 3 Solstice packages opened is actually pretty lucrative. That's a pretty fair drop rate, especially considering that Solstice Armor, as opposed to the random Legendary armor you're getting, is guaranteed to be higher than average stat rolls. So they're almost always going to be around 60 or above, and if you want those spiky distributions as well, they commonly have those too. So that is a very attractive thing to farm, and I can say that's a better drop rate than I actually expected. Now that's all great, but what is the actual rate at which you're acquiring this stuff? Well, the way to farm Solstice packages is to farm the European aerial zone. And thankfully, in terms of calculations, that activity has some set times. So when you spawn in, you have exactly 5 minutes to kill the mini bosses. Then the boss fight is actually untimed. It can go technically forever, but let's say you have a good group together and you take down the boss in 1 minute, you go to the last part, which is the chest hunt, and that gives you 4 minutes. So in total, that equates to 10 minutes per run. Now, obviously, not every run is going to be exactly 10 minutes, but it's a good approximation. Now, every time you open a chest, you have a chance to get a Solstice package. I've gotten as low as 1 package for opening like 12 chests, and I've also gone as high as 9 packages for opening, I think, around 14 or 15 chests. So your luck will greatly influence the drop rates, but I would say on the lower end, it's going to be around 4 Solstice packages for a run, and that's kind of if you're unlucky. And that equates to 7.68 Solstice armor pieces per hour. So about 7 or 8 armor pieces in an hour of farming the EAZ. Now, for 5 packages, which I would say is pretty common, like that's going to be pretty average, it's 9.6 Solstice armor pieces per hour, so around 9 or 10. And that is going to be most commonly where people are going to lie, is averaging about 10 Solstice armor pieces per hour. Now, what about that friend who is graced by RNG? Well, if we use my max of 9 packages in a run, that gives you in 1 hour 17.28 armor pieces. So that's like the absolute top of the spectrum. If you just walk on water lucky, like that is what you're going to get. But again, the average is around 10. So that's really now in your court. It is up to you whether you think around 10 Solstice armor pieces per hour is worth going after. And really, I would say that's going to rely on how many high stat roll armor pieces you have. If you already have quite a few from doing activities such as raids, Iron Banner, etc., then this becomes a lot less lucrative. If you don't, this is definitely worth doing. But I hope this video gave you a good insight into the raw numbers behind farming for Solstice packages, and hopefully it helps you make a decision on whether or not you want to do so. Guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found it informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.